Hello, everybody. I'm just waiting for people to pop on. Hi, everybody. Just waiting for people to pop on here. Thank you so much for joining. I'm just waiting for people to pop on. And just checking to see if I'm live, and yes, I am. So welcome everybody to mindful meditation tonight. Tonight we have the opportunity to come together as a Sangha, a mindfulness community, to practice guided and silent sitting meditation, to practice mindful movement, and to practice a reconciliation practice called Beginning Anew, which is something that the Order of Interbeing, which is Thich Nhat Hanh's meditation community, practices in their monasteries once a week, actually. And we'll talk about that a little bit more later. So if anybody is new to sitting meditation, this is a great opportunity to come back to ourselves. There's a lot of things in our world today, a lot of strong emotions, a lot of issues coming up socially and politically that can really take us out of ourselves and divide ourselves. And Thich Nhat Hanh has given us beautiful practices and beautiful teachings in order to come back to ourselves and get grounded in the present moment. So I'd like to invite you now to get into a comfortable position, and we'll do our first guided and then silent meditation of the evening. I am going to be inviting the bell. And we invite the bell in order to, they call this the mindfulness bell. And we're able to be mindful about this present moment when we hear the sound of the bell. We don't strike the bell, we invite the bell. And it's an invitation for us to stop, rest, calm, and heal. So that's what we'd like to do now. So find a comfortable position with your spine upright and somewhere between restful and wakeful. You can try to lay down, but it's just important that you have a restful yet wakeful posture so that you can sort of be conscious while you're sitting. And the goal here is, especially if you're a newcomer to this practice, not to just have nothing going on in your head, like just numbing out and pushing things away. The goal of this sitting practice is to befriend all of the things in your mind, all of the happy things and all of the suffering, so that it can become a part of you, and it can be so that you can practice staying in the present moment no matter what may be happening inside of you. So if you'd like to close your eyes, find your breath, feel all the places where the surface that you're sitting or laying on touches the back of your body. Feel all the places where your breath goes in your body, your belly, your chest, your throat, your nose, your mouth. Maybe all of your organs are being bathed in this life-giving breath. And I'll invite the bell 3 times. Body, speech, and mind in perfect oneness. We send our hearts out along with the sound of the bell. May all who hear it awaken from forgetfulness and transcend all anxiety and sorrow. Breathing in, I know that I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know that I am breathing out. In, out. Breathing in, I follow my in-breath from its very beginning to its very end. Breathing out, I know that I am breathing out. I follow my out-breath from its very beginning to its very end. In, out, beginning, end. And so we'll move into silent meditation for the next couple of minutes until the next sound of the bell. I'm going to invite the small bell for stretching and massage. And just stretch your body from sitting for the past couple of minutes. And we'll definitely do another sit before the end of our time together tonight. So now I'd like to invite you into mindful movement practice. There's a mindful movement practice that they have at the monastery. All of the monasteries in the Thich Nhat Hanh tradition, they're called Plum Village, and there's about 13 practice centers around, between the United States and the rest of the world. And they have, a routine that they follow every day. So there's a guided sitting and walking meditation, but there's also mindful movement, and that can be done in a myriad of ways, from using the bamboo sticks, which is sort of a calisthenics routine, to Tai Chi and slow flowing movements. Tonight I am going to adapt our mindful movement practice to be something that I personally study called Traeger. And Traeger is a bodywork practice that lends itself to mindfulness in that it seeks to cultivate a deep awareness of the body and feelings and sensory feelings in the body. So increasing someone's body awareness can be very key to a person's well-being, and puts them in the driver's seat, really, concerning their own care. And it sort of is like, yeah, I'm getting to know this body that I'm living in by understanding it in a more mindful and deep way. So let's do just that. Let's come into a mindful relationship with our neck today. We're going to be focusing on the neck for mindful movement. So just get into a place where you can freely move, and you'll only need to move your shoulders and your neck. And so I'd like to invite you to feel anchored down at your trunk, and feeling your spine erect on the seat. And go ahead and start to sway from one buttock to the other, side to side, so that you're shifting weight from one side to the other. It's almost as if we were standing up and you were shifting your weight from the right foot to the left foot, only we're sitting down and you're shifting your weight from the right side of your buttock to the left. And see if the top of your body, your torso and your shoulders and your head can sort of swish along with the bottom part of your body. And, nothing extreme as far as movement, just keeping it a soft movement. Maybe not going to your end zone or like the edge of what feels comfortable for you, but maybe backing up and going to the point maybe just before your edge. Because maybe we don't even know where our edge is. We're just mindfully exploring what that's like. See if you can catch the moment where both of your buttocks are on the chair at the same time. And then the weight shifts, and then back to the center, and then it shifts again. Let's take a break and come back to center. Close your eyes and breathe. Check in with your body sensations and mindfully see what's happening inside of your body as a result of those movements. I'm feeling a little bit more blood flow. There's a little bit more blood flow in my lower abdomen and in my legs and my buttocks. So go ahead and see what it would be like if you led the swaying with your shoulders. envision a really tall tree, and when on a windy day, a tree is swaying in the wind, sometimes the canopy of the tree sways first, and then the rest of the tree follows after it. If you've ever looked at a tree that's like super tall, you see the tree swaying, and you see the canopy swaying first, and then the trunk sort of follows along. See if your body can emulate that movement where your shoulders move first and your shoulders and your head are the canopy, and then your torso is the trunk. And just how gradually your body sort of undulates to the side. You can feel like all of those muscles kicking in, like your obliques, your abdominal muscles, maybe even your QL, which is the muscle in your lower back. It's called the quadratus lumborum. And so just come back to center now and effortlessly pause, be lazy. Even Thich Nhat Hanh says we need a lazy day sometimes to regenerate our energy. Feel what kind of sensations are living in your body right now as a result of those movements. I'd like to invite you now to start to play with the head and the neck now. And I'm going to have you envision that on the top of your head, you have a paintbrush that is pointed, the bristles here at the top of my finger. This is the bristles of the brush, and my hand here is the handle of the paintbrush. And I'd like to just imagine, just pretend that you have a helmet on, and there's a paintbrush sticking out of the top of it. And there's red paint, or whatever color paint you want. Of course you know I'm going to pick green, because I have green in my hair. It's my favorite color. So I'm going to just envision that my paintbrush, I'm going to tilt my head forward and backward, and that this paintbrush is making a line on the ceiling according to how I'm moving my head. And now I'm going to side bend, so essentially I'm making a plus sign on the ceiling. And only go, to your capacity. Don't overstretch your neck, especially if we didn't warm up. Just stay within the range of motion that feels the most comfortable for you. What would it be like if you mindfully painted the smallest plus sign ever possible on the ceiling? That means you're barely moving your head. How soft could you make your head and neck move so that you could get that really delicate, tiny, tiny plus sign on the ceiling? And then take a pause and breathe. Feel into your neck. Name all of the feelings and sensations that you're feeling in your neck. And so I hope that was beneficial for you to gain some information about your body and just to start the dialogue within yourself about, connecting with the body awareness that you can cultivate to understand your body more, and to also give you a way to have a back and forth dialogue with your body, which I think is very essential to uniting mind and body. Thich Nhat Hanh says mind and body are one. They are not separate. A lot of times we get stuck up in our head and we forget about our bodies. So it's like sort of like a homecoming, or being reunited with our body once again to keep in conversation with it. Notice when something's wrong with it, maybe before it yells and screams at us. Because if we have this ongoing dialogue, then we know sooner when we may be out of alignment with it. So, thank you for practicing in mindful movement with me. We'll be doing another short sit now, so I'd like to invite you to get into a comfortable position. And there's nowhere to go and there's nothing to do right now. It's just sitting here in this present moment together, being mindful of any thoughts that come up. If there's anything that could be a harmful or destructive thought or uncomfortable or suffering, just acknowledging it and not trying to push it away. Sister Hanh, Sister Ocean, also known as Sister Ocean, she likes to just talk about how we can embrace our suffering. And Thich Nhat Hanh says, okay, we just say, all right, this is suffering. I can recognize it. I'm aware of it, and this can be a step on the right path to transform it, so that we do not transmit it to other people, or even just have that discord happening in ourselves. We can begin the conversation about how to transform this suffering. So, let's enjoy 3 sounds of the bell and move into silent meditation. And we'll sit in silent meditation until the next sound of the bell after our sit. And let's enjoy our breath until the next sound of the bell. Small bell for stretching and massage. just stretching your body from being in the sitting meditation posture. And we'll have one more sit after we talk about beginning anew. So, what we're going to discuss tonight or look at is the reconciliation practice in Thich Nhat Hanh's tradition. It's called Beginning Anew. And Beginning Anew is a practice that the monasteries use once a week, actually, to just keep the space clear of any kind of regrets or hurts or anything that could damage beloved community. The goal of the monasteries is to live in harmony with one another and to nurture the seeds of the beloved community. And if anything is awry, they utilize Beginning Anew once a week in order to, just troubleshoot or to just stay on top of anything that could potentially be harming the community. And Thich Nhat Hanh has written about this practice in several of his books. Teachings on Love by Thich Nhat Hanh. He also wrote Reconciliation, Healing the Inner Child. And Sister Chan Khong wrote Beginning Anew. It's this tiny book, but it packs a punch. It's really wonderful. She goes into the 4 main steps of Beginning Anew extensively. So what is Beginning Anew? Well, Thich Nhat Hanh likes to say that even before we do Beginning Anew, if there has been a situation in which we feel we've been done wrong and that we feel very upset about and we have a lot of anger or we feel mistreated, the first thing that we do is we take care of our anger. We're actually reading, as this Sangha, we're reading the book Anger. We're on chapter 8, which we will be reading next week. Sidebar, we are going to start Zoom meetings for this meditation next week. So there's information in the description of this live about how you can email me at the address in that description for the Zoom link. We'll have an interactive Zoom meditation going forward, and we're going to do that starting next week. And we are reading chapter 8 of the book Anger, and it's about the habit energy of anger, that particular chapter. And so Thich Nhat Hanh says, before we even do anything that concerns the other person, we are going to take care of our anger. He says for 24 hours, excuse me, after the situation has occurred, we will take those 24 hours to take some space for ourselves and to look deeply into the roots of our anger that has arisen as a result of the situation. We will see if we can actually calm down ourselves and our nervous systems and come to a place where we can be in a space to talk about what has transpired and use Beginning Anew. At that time, if we cannot say that we have taken care of our anger to the point of it being calm enough to be able to talk about the situation, then we must be determined not to speak until we feel that we are calm enough, because we do not want to do any harm by saying anything hurtful or watering the seeds of anger in the other person. Again, you know what Thich Nhat Hanh says, what we don't transform, we transmit. So we want to be able to transform those seeds of anger that have been watered as a result of the situation so that we do not transmit the anger to the other person. This is a deep practice, and I attended a retreat last year from two lay order members that live at Morning Star Retreat Center up in Vermont, and they presented on this practice, Beginning Anew. And they do say, as a house that is, a lay order member house where they practice Beginning Anew every week, that it can be very challenging. But it has done wonders for nurturing and being able to have this very fertile, beloved community that is able to grow together. And they're able to transform their anger together. And I was very moved by that presentation. And it really sounded like they had a lot of practice doing this, beginning a new practice. So that's the first thing we do before we even engage the other person. So after we do that, we've taken care of our anger. We then move to the first of the 4 steps of beginning anew, which is flower watering. We start by watering our own flowers. We may have these things, and Sister Chan Khong says this in her book about flower watering, that we may have some beliefs about our own selves that are very harmful to ourselves. Beliefs about ourselves that are judgments that either we've made about our own selves or that someone else has made about us. It's very crucial that we look deeply into those things and that we water our own seeds. And Thich Nhat Hanh recommends just to do 3 phrases of flower watering for ourselves. You were able to transform your anger beautifully. You love and care for all beings. And so you water your own seeds. And then after you've done that, then you can approach the other person. And you can ask them if they would like to engage in beginning anew with you. And you both decide who is going to speak. If you want 2 separate sessions to talk about this, then that could work. It's all about making a contract about what you would like to, how you would like to do this. Excuse me. If it's been decided that only you will speak, then you can, for the most part, you can water the other person's seeds, water the other person's flowers. I'm sorry. And that could be 3 things that you appreciate about that person, 3 things you admire about that person. After that, you express regrets, beneficial regrets. You can express 3 regrets that you have pertaining to the situation at hand, regarding the other person or with the other person. The 3rd step is expressing hurts. And it's best for new practitioners of beginning anew to express 1 or 2 hurts. And it's important to skillfully word these statements, because you don't want to end up injuring someone else with the way that you phrase it, or if you're judging the situation or the other person or their behavior. You want to just get an observation of what happened truly as if like a camera could record it without anything extra added on to it. And then you can speak from your heart about how that hurt you personally. Um, and then the next phase, the last phase, is to deeply listen. It's giving the other person an opportunity to respond to all that you have said. And for the person that's responding, it's very important that they also use skillful words and language in order to respond, so as not to transmit any kind of hurtful words or language. Last time we did this here at the Sangha in person at the Uxbridge Library, somebody that was practicing in the room said, well, what if nobody knows, if the person that you're doing this with doesn't know about Beginning Anew and is using hurtful language, things like that. And I didn't really have an answer at that time, but I was reading, Sister Chan Khong's book, and one thing she did mention was to be able to anchor in yourself while this person is saying what they're saying and deeply listen to what they're saying. And you want to calm your own self and then respond instead of react from a place of anger. Because we don't want to transmit or perpetuate any kind of anger that's happening. And yeah, that seems so logical to me. But again, it's a very deep practice, and it's something that needs to be practiced over and over again. And I find it very helpful when the other person is knowledgeable about Beginning Anew. And that might be the best way to start as a newcomer to this practice, to practice with somebody who is already aware of these things and these steps, and to be able to be aware of those moments where language can veer off into being hurtful. Thich Nhat Hanh invented this last step, which is optional. It's called hugging meditation. And he actually created this because when he started teaching in the West more, because he is from Vietnam, and in the East, there's a lot of bowing of acknowledgement instead of embracing people by hugging them. And a lot of people in the West, especially when he got off the plane, the people that met him at the airport would hug him, and he would say, this is interesting. Like, so on the airplane home, he invented hugging meditation. And this meditation is to hug someone heart to heart, which is, a little uncomfortable. Sometimes we don't hug heart to heart. So it's hugging heart to heart. And while holding them in your arms, you take 3 deep breaths together, and you really feel their essence, their energy in their bodies on your body, and you feel the essence of this person. And it's basically a hugging meditation. You are together, and you are breathing, and you are in the present moment together, just enjoying each other. So that is Beginning Anew, a reconciliation practice, and it can even be done on your own with your own self. Thich Nhat Hanh has this great passage, and also something called the Peace Treaty, which I'll tell you about in a minute. But Thich Nhat Hanh says about Beginning Anew that Beginning Anew is not to ask for forgiveness. Beginning anew is to change your mind and your heart, to transform the ignorance that brought about wrong actions of body, speech, and mind, and to help you cultivate your mind of love. Your shame and guilt will disappear, and you will begin to experience the joy of being alive. All wrongdoings arise in the mind. It is through the mind that wrongdoings can disappear. I love that. And then the last thing I wanted to share is the peace treaty. And I think it's so cute. This peace treaty is something that you and the person that you're having a difficulty, or even you don't even have a difficulty yet, but you're dedicated to the practice of beginning anew as a way to reconcile any difficulties that you may have. And an example of this peace treaty, you can just Google it, Thich Nhat Hanh, Beginning Anew Peace Treaty, but it's also, a copy of it is also in the book Teachings on Love by Thich Nhat Hanh. And he says that when he does retreats, he has couples come up and they sign the peace treaty in front of the whole Sangha, as if to say, I'm making this declaration to make a vow to have this agreement in place with this peace treaty, so that if difficulties arise, I'm committed to being in relationship with my partner when difficulties arise, and we can utilize beginning anew to reconcile our difficulties. There's a portion of it for the one who is angry. The one who is angry agrees to refrain from saying or doing anything that might cause further damage or escalate. Number 2, not suppress my anger. Number 3, practice breathing and taking refuge in the island of myself. Number 4, calmly and within 24 hours, tell the one who has made me angry about my anger and suffering, either verbally or by delivering a peace note. And then on and on. There's another section for the one who has made the other one angry. Number 1, respect the other's feelings. Do not ridicule him or her, and allow enough time for him or her to calm down. Number 2, do not press for an immediate discussion. Number 3, confirm with the other person's request for a meeting, either verbally or by note, and assure him or her that I will be there, and then on and on. And there's actually an area for you to sign and date. That could be really helpful for maybe somebody who's not aware of beginning anew, but yet they're committed to these different things in the peace treaty. So let's take a breath together. And we'll have one more final sit before the end of our time together. So I'd like to invite you to get into a comfortable position, finding your breath. And you just listen to me talk for a little while, so just feel the energy from your mind working hard to process information. Just allow that energy to come down into the body and distribute. And let's enjoy 3 sounds of the bell. Nowhere to go and nothing to do. Let's enjoy our sitting meditation until the next sound of the bell. Small bell for stretching and massage. Thank you, dear community, for your practice. May we share the fruits of this practice with all beings, and may we all be well. Thank you, dear Sangha. We will be back next week on August 6th for a sitting and breathing meditation, as well as chapter 8 of the book Anger by Thich Nhat Hanh. On August 13th, we'll be back. We will be also sitting and breathing, and we will also recite the 5 mindfulness trainings. And September 3rd and 17th are to be determined topics. So next week is going to be a little different. We're going to be meeting on Zoom. If you'd like to email me at jenny.lin.z@gmail.com, I can give you the Zoom link for that. We will be able to have an interactive time together. Very exciting. And I will be streaming that live on Facebook as well. And if people can come at 5:45, about 15 minutes before 6, we will talk about all the things that will be streamed and not streamed, because we will have some Dharma sharing, which I will talk about on our Zoom call. So if you're interested, please email me, and otherwise you can catch it streamed here on Facebook on the Uxbridge Library page, and I'll also be sharing it on my personal page. So thank you so much for your practice, and I hope you have a really great evening. Thank you.